They're losing weight. You're not making enough. They're feeding again. You gotta fight through the nipple pain. If you've heard any of these or panic thinking that they might be true, you are not alone. I'm Dr. Mona Amin. I'm a pediatrician, IBCLC, and mom, and for World Breastfeeding Month, I want to tell you what early breastfeeding actually looks like. Because the truth, it can be messy, it can be confusing, and it can be full of doubt, and that's also completely common. Save this video, send it to a friend, like and subscribe while you're here, because I share honest, judgment-free support every week. All right, let's break this topic down. Let's start with newborn weight loss. This one sends a lot of parents into panic mode. Babies normally lose 7 to 10% of their birth weight in the first few days. That's just fluid loss, totally expected. It's not a sign your milk isn't enough. Most babies are back at their birth weight by day 10 to 14. So if your clinician isn't worried, you don't need to be either. Now, if your baby's weight loss goes past 10% from their birth weight, your clinician or lactation consultant may want closer weight monitoring. Supplementation with formula or pumped milk may be a part of the plan if your baby isn't content after feeds, isn't gaining well, or if we need to help your supply along. It's not a failure, it's a tool, and when used thoughtfully, it can support your breastfeeding goals, not replace them. If you are concerned of poor feeding, aka the latch, poor milk transfer, or baby seems unsatisfied after feeds, reach out to your lactation consultant for guidance. But remember, if you supplement, still make sure you remove milk via a pump to protect your supply. Also, poop and pee. Totally underrated heroes to know that your baby's feeding well. By day 5, we want to see at least 4 wet diapers a day and some solid poops. Try to zoom out and focus on the big picture. No need to track every single detail minute by minute unless that kind of organization actually helps your sleep-deprived brain. Then by all means, track away. Yep, some days it feels like they just fed and here they are again, rooting, fussing, wanting to latch. That's cluster feeding. It's totally normal, super common, and yes, it can feel exhausting. But it's also how your baby boosts your milk supply, especially during growth spurts. Think of it as them putting in an order for more milk. Cluster feeding usually shows up around day 2 as they clear out fluid weight and get milk production going. Around weeks 2, 3, and 6, seems like forever, which is where they have classic growth spurt timings. These sessions can last a long time, often in the late afternoon or evening just when you're running on fumes. They might feed, fuss, nap for 10 minutes, and then want to feed again. That's part of that cluster feeding process. One tricky part, around 6 weeks, babies are often more alert and tired cues start to look a lot like hunger cues. Rooting, squirming, even sucking on fists can mean either one. So how do you tell the difference? If a baby is within their wake window, about 60 to 90 minutes at this age, and they're fussy but not feeding well or falling asleep at the breast, they might just be overtired. If they latch, feed actively, and seem settled afterward, it was likely hunger. If they're half latching, popping off, and cranky, it might be time for sleep and not another feed. When it comes to learning about hunger and sleepy cues, you're not going to get it right every time, and that's okay. It takes practice. You're learning about a new human. If you want my free handout to learn more about hunger and sleepy cues, check out my caption below for the link. Cluster feeding is your baby's way of saying more please. The more they feed, the more production happens, and your body usually listens. It's temporary, it's in phases, it's normal, and it doesn't mean something's wrong. And also remember that we want to make sure their latch and milk transfer as well, because sometimes parents can perceive something as cluster feeding when they may not be actually getting fed well in the first place. So if you're buried under a newborn and this made you feel seen, hit subscribe. I promise to keep showing up with the kind of support I wish every parent had at 2 a.m. Some babies nurse for 40 minutes, others are in and out in 5. If you're watching the clock and wondering if it's enough, switch gears. Watch your baby. Are they swallowing? Are their fists relaxing? Do they seem content after the feed? Then you're good. It's kind of like how some people eat their dinner in 5 minutes flat and others linger with every bite. The speed doesn't always reflect how full or satisfied they end up, just how they prefer to eat. Same with babies. Let's bust this myth. Just because your baby finishes nursing in 7 minutes doesn't mean your supply is low. Some babies are little express eaters. They hop on, grab what they need, and hop off. It's fast, efficient, and totally normal for some. And on the flip side, if your baby feeds for 40 minutes, especially at the beginning, every time, don't panic. They might just be a slow and steady eater and learner. Think of them as the baby equivalent of a long brunch kind of person. The key isn't how long they're feeding or how much you're pumping, it's whether your baby is actually getting the milk. And here are signs of good milk transfer. You hear or see rhythmic swallowing while they nurse, not just sucking. Baby's hands relax during the feed. Those clenched fists start to open. Their jaw is moving deeply, not just shallow little sucks. They seem content and relaxed after feeding, not frantic or rooting right away immediately. You're seeing at least 4 wet diapers a day with good poops as well. Weight gain is on track, whether it's with a lactation consultant and scales at home or with your clinician. If feeds are super short and baby's still fussy, or if they're feeding for long stretches but not gaining well or producing diapers, that's a concern to check in with your clinician or lactation consultant. But remember, all babies are different. One might nurse like a leisurely bruncher, the other like a drive-through regular. Don't stress over the clock, but please watch your baby. You might hear your milk hasn't come in yet, but here's the truth and nuance. Colostrum is milk. It's often called liquid gold for a reason. It's thick, yellowish, or golden, and packed with everything your baby needs in its first days. It's loaded with immunoglobulins, living cells, and protective compounds that act like your baby's natural first vaccine, priming their gut immune system and defenses right from the start. Scientific reviews confirm that colostrum contains a powerful mix of antibodies, growth factors, and antimicrobial peptides that support gut health and provide passive immunity. And yes, it might look different than what you're expecting. It's thicker, more yellow, and comes out in smaller amounts, but that's by design. On day 1, your baby's stomach is about the size of a marble. They don't need ounces, they need drops. And colostrum delivers exactly that. The small volume is perfect for their tiny belly and easy to digest. Your milk typically transitions around days 2 to 5. You might feel your breast get fuller or notice leaking, or you might not. Some people feel a shift and others don't. What matters most is that baby is latching well, you feel like there's good milk transfer, they're feeding appropriately, and they're having wet diapers. Pro tip, don't let early pumping results mess with your confidence. Seeing just a few drops of thick yellow colostrum is normal, and more than enough for what your baby needs in the first couple of days. Curious about collecting colostrum before birth? Some parents really enjoy this or are advised to hand express colostrum before delivery in cases like planned C-sections. But always talk to your OB or midwife first. Most give the go-ahead around 36 to 37 weeks, but it's important to confirm it's safe for your pregnancy since nipple stimulation can trigger contractions. If approved, your provider or a lactation consultant can guide you on how to collect and store it. Some tenderness at the beginning of feeds, normal, especially in those first couple of weeks as your nipples adjust to feeding. Bleeding, stabbing pain, cracking, wincing when the baby goes to your breasts, not normal. That's your body saying something needs to change. Painful feeds are often due to a shallow latch, tongue tie, or positioning issues. And here's the good news. They are fixable. Call in a lactation consultant or trained feeding specialist to evaluate what's going on with that latch. But when the latch is working well, you're going to see a few reassuring signs. Your baby's lips will be flanged outward like a little fish, not tucked in. Their chin will be pressed into your breast and their nose might be close, but it's still able to breathe easily. You'll hear or see rhythmic sucking and swallowing with little pauses between sucks. That tells us they're actually transferring milk. And reminder, pain is not a badge of honor. It's a sign to pause and pivot, not push through. And if you're using nipple shields, that's okay too. They can be a helpful tool when used with guidance. But it's best to work with someone experienced so you're not accidentally masking a bigger issue like latch or supply. Breastfeeding may be new, but it shouldn't feel unbearable all the time. If you're wincing through every feed throughout the whole duration, it's time to get support. You don't have to tough it out. You deserve comfort and success. Let's pivot to low supply worries. So many new moms, including myself with my daughter, spiral here. If you want facts, not fear, subscribe and give this video a thumbs up sign. This is the kind of clarity I share every week with all of my content. And I get it, when you can't see how much your baby is getting, it's easy to spiral. Here's what actually builds supply early on: frequent and effective milk removal. But even with that, milk production isn't easy for everyone. Sometimes low milk supply is physiological. It has nothing to do with your motivation, your effort, or how hard you're trying. I go deeper into this on my podcast episode, breast milk production is not easy for everyone. If you want a full breakdown of what can impact supply and how to get support. Now let's clear up some myths. Leaking doesn't automatically mean you have plenty. Not leaking doesn't mean that you're low supply. Your body isn't a faucet you can judge by drips, and pump output, that's not the gold standard either. Some people respond really well to a pump and others don't. How much you pump isn't always how much your baby is getting at the breast. So what does give us a better idea? Well, we mentioned that. Wet diapers, at least 4 a day. Waking, your clinician or a lactation consultant, if they have a scale at your visits at home, can track this closely. And how your baby seems after a feed, relaxed, content, and not frantically rooting. Some people never feel a letdown, and others say it feels like a tingling, pressure, or pins and needles. Either way, it could still be working whether you feel it or not. If you're feeling unsure, don't go it alone. Talk to a lactation professional. They can check if baby's transferring milk well and if your supply is on track. Early reassurance makes a huge difference. And if you're planning to start pumping soon, check out my video on pumping mistakes. They're a learning curve, and it'll save you a lot of trial and error. It's a great idea to take a breastfeeding class before birth. Learn the basics: colostrum, transitional milk, mature milk, get familiar with hunger cues, know what's normalish so you're not frantically Googling at 3 a.m. These are available through birthing hospitals and also online resources. But here's the honest part no one says enough. So much of breastfeeding is learned after your baby is born. Because it's not just about what you know, it's about how your baby latches, your body's production, your anatomy, your recovery, your baby's oral anatomy, and your support system. All of it plays a role. So if it doesn't feel easy, even though everyone keeps saying how natural breastfeeding is, don't panic. That doesn't mean you're not doing it right. It means that you're in it. Breastfeeding is a relationship, and relationships take time to figure out. And once your baby arrives, ask for help early. Don't wait until you're sobbing on day 3 wondering if you're failing. You're not, but support can make the difference between powering through and actually feeling supported while you do it. Use the hospital lactation team while you have access. Line up an IBCLC in your area or online, and check out my feeding resources guide on how to find lactation support. Let people help. Let them bring meals, rock the baby while you shower, or take over chores so you can focus on breastfeeding and resting. You're not supposed to do it all by yourself, and there's no prize for burnout. Supplementation isn't about panic, it's about responding to what your baby needs. If your baby has poor weight gain, signs of low milk transfer, or trouble latching, your pediatrician or lactation consultant may recommend supplementing with pumped milk if you have it, donor milk if you're in a hospital, or formula. That doesn't mean breastfeeding is over. It just means we're supporting baby and your body. If latching is the issue, it's important to protect your supply by pumping after feeds. Remember, if we don't use it, we lose it. In those early weeks, aim for 8 to 12 feeds or milk removal, whether it's a pump or your baby, in 24 hours to build and maintain supply. And no, it won't stay like that forever. I promise it gets more manageable. Around 4 to 6 weeks after birth, your body starts to figure out what your baby really needs in terms of milk supply. In the beginning, milk production is driven mostly by hormones. That's why your breasts may feel super full, you might leak a lot, and everything feels a little more intense. But by week 4 to 6, your body starts running more on a supply and demand system. Basically, the more often milk is removed by baby or pump, the more your body will make. And if less milk is removed, it'll start making less. This is normal and expected. And here's what throws people off. Once your body regulates, your breasts might not feel as full. You might stop leaking. You might not feel a letdown anymore. That doesn't mean your supply dropped. It means your baby just got more efficient and you have regulated your supply. So don't panic if things suddenly feel different around that 1 month mark. If your baby is still gaining weight, making wet diapers, and seems content after feeds, your supply is working exactly as it should. Partners can burp the baby, change diapers, bring snacks, refill water, and most importantly, offer encouragement and emotional support. That 2 a.m. glass of water or that shoulder to cry on, it matters more than you think. Breastfeeding may be one parent's responsibility, but it works best when it's a shared mission. Think of your role as the ground crew for a pilot in flight, essential, steady, and always there. Also, partners, keep an eye out for signs of burnout or overwhelm. Sometimes the best support isn't a solution, it's presence. It's noticing what your partner may need in the moment and doing without asking. And if you're the partner watching this, you're the MVP behind the scenes. Subscribe together if you're both on team Get Through This in one piece. Whether you're breastfeeding, combo feeding, pumping, supplementing, You're feeding your baby. Breastfeeding isn't just about milk, it's comfort, it's bonding, it's trial and error, and it's okay if it doesn't look like what you expected. It's okay to say that it's not enjoyable or that it's not easy. The early days and weeks of breastfeeding are raw, beautiful, exhausting, nipples are gonna be hanging out, and it's full of growth for both of you. What matters most, that your baby is fed, loved, and thriving, and that you feel supported, seen, and steady. So, take that breath, you're not failing, you're learning, and you are not alone. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up sign if it helped. Subscribe for more pediatrician mom support, and if you want more lactation videos, please let me know in the comments below. And save this video for the next time when you need a reminder that you're doing better than you think. I'll catch you all next time. Stay well.